Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. We're here tonight at Upper Chichester Township Board of Commissioners meeting, starting off tonight at 7 p.m. a hearing of the Board of Commissioners of Upper Chichester to hear and consider potential projects to include on the Township 2023 PY Community Development Block Grant application with Delaware County. George, can you do roll call, please?
Sure thing. Commissioner Bacco,
Here.
Commissioner Rakowski,
Here.
Commissioner Neary,
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker, Lisa Catania, Michael Pierce, and myself, George Needles, present.
Okay, we are here tonight. We'll turn everything over to our township engineer and we'll take public comment on the phone and on the commissioners. You good? I think I'm
I thought I had it on. I turned it off after this grant is administered by the County Office of Housing Community Development. The funding is actually from HUD. There are 3 areas that are eligible in the community. I can tell you that we have sat down as a group, the professionals, staff, and come up with a listing of what we would consider viable projects for consideration for the grant. The grant is due on January the 4th. So it doesn't give us much time to get something done. These projects have been published through the different plans that we've done, planning activities that we've done, and as well, just some historic information. The county council seems to levitate towards projects that are phased projects. So if we've started and completed phases, they like to see the next phase of that project being awarded. So as part of that, we've looked at the Boothland Highlands. You have a packet of information. The first project would be to repave the remaining roadways in the area. The map that's on page 2 actually denotes the projects based on years from 2009 to 2022 of roads that have been done within that particular eligible area. So there are some such as Upland, Mill Road, Stirrup, Bugle, and Gailey that have not been completed at this point. Oh, I'm sorry, in Spring Mill Road, that we might consider that particular type of project. We want to see around $100,000 in road program, should we decide that that's a project that we'd like to do. The next one is a phased project. You're very aware of what we've been doing over in the Linwood area. We've done 2 projects on Johnson Avenue, phase 1 and a phase 2, to try to improve the sidewalks and the curbs of pedestrian access through that area. This would continue that. This is a Huddle and Johnson Avenue streetscape. Brian Seidel actually put a plan together to show you what we feel could be possible at that intersection, via walkway and landscaping along Johnson Avenue. The next project is actually a paving and a drainage improvement project. This is not been identified completely. We do have a problem with an inlet that's on Fifth Avenue that's causing some erosion problems. During our Public Works meeting, it's been identified to take that pipe all the way down to the end of the woods and discharge it there. This would require quite a few easements. There's many mature trees that we'd have to take down. what I would like to do is to take a look at that inlet and reconstruct Fifth Avenue so that the low point is not in the middle of the street, get the water to go down McKay and tie into the existing system that's there that was done as part of the previous community development block grants. Whether it's possible or not, I don't know. We don't have all of the topographic survey to get that identify the feasibility, but we think we can get that done enough that we could put it on a piece of paper for a grant. The Mill Road project, as you're aware, we did the Bergdahl Basin conversion a couple years ago. At that point, we had done a plan for a walkway, benches, having a passive recreation area within the Mill Road area, talking about completing the sidewalk and the curb up to a point where that meets the roundabout, and then possibly ADA ramps and other sidewalk improvements through that particular area. Brian's also put a sketch together for that particular project. And the last one that we have is a Twin Oaks project. As you're very aware, we've done the plan for the Twin Oaks area. Couple things that we looked at from a traffic calming standpoint. The board has heard on countless times residents coming in suggesting that there should be some sort of traffic calming within the area. We've identified putting a twofold purpose, a sign with a island on Broadway Avenue, which would take the traffic off of 452, slow it down. It's actually a traffic calming and identify the area as Twin Oaks area. We'd also look at some bump outs through that particular stretch to identify specific parking areas there. But they're the projects that we've identified as the most viable for the community this year. I'll certainly answer any questions that anyone has, as well. If there's another project that you feel should have some of our attention, I'll be glad to put that down so we can add it to our list.
Okay, if I go to the public, I'll go to the Board of Commissioners here. We do have a list this year. I know for the last few years, this area wasn't expanded as much as it is for 2023. There were some areas back probably 3 or 4 years ago, if not longer, that weren't there or back in again. So if there's any question or any questions before I get to them, because I got a couple of questions. We'll start out with Madam Vice President Nicole. You have any? Okay, Joe, you have anything?
Not really, just when did I come into the third ward?
Yes. Mr. Neary.
Thanks. So I spoke to George about this a while ago because this is probably, I guess, the second or third year that the fourth and fifth wards have had some area that's actually under CDBG grant, if you would. And I know you mentioned the Fox Mill and Upland, but looking at this, the streets like Whitney and Philip and Eric and Spring Mill are much older streets than Hunter's Woods
I missed
streets.
that whole section, didn't I? I think I missed that whole section.
Yeah, if you look,
section.
it's easy.
Yeah,
It
I
is.
did.
But like last year, I did Greenwood as probably as part, that was the biggest road I've probably ever done as one piece. But those areas are older. Now, when I talked to George, I know that they like to do some higher visibility points, I guess, or projects. But this is an area that's been neglected, through nobody's fault, but it's some of these roads need some real attention.
Nicole, or you want me to go? No.
You can go.
Okay, Lisa, for the grant itself, is it better to have more on the list to try to get?
So you are, I should have mentioned this, you have the opportunity to put two grant applications in. One would be identified as your priority project. The second would be the alternate project. So you can put two projects in.
And any comments? I got a couple comments. I mean, I was looking at Mr. Neary's. I didn't look that deep into your area, didn't even recognize to see if it was on that map from the very beginning, one that Lisa sent us before. I was just shocked that McKay Avenue was put back in. I know they did the other project years ago. At the end, I wanted to make a comment with Lisa too. I was going to suggest that at Fifth Avenue, that one inlet, to try to get to the part they already did and not go behind the houses. That would lessen up the costs of that project.
Yes, and the big issue with that, unless we reconstruct the roadway, is that there is a petroleum line that goes between, right before you get to the inlet at the intersection of Fifth and McKay. So if you notice, there's one inlet and then there's not an inlet to, all of the piping's on the opposite side of the street because of that oil pipeline. So I know, when that community development block grant was done, we had done the design. We did not see it through to construction because of change in the engineering firm. But I know that once they started working on the final design, they found that the pipeline was not allowing them to put the storm sewer
On that side.
on that side.
Right.
So,
Now this, what we have here listed shows paving improvements. Is that the same thing as we're talking about for the concrete gutters from up by Wawa, getting down to the part that we already did? I mean, you're saying paving, is it going to be paving or is it going to be the concrete gutters as we did on Galbraith Avenue 4 or 5 years ago?
my understanding was that it is just a paving project. There's sections of McKay that have not been paved as part of it. For example, only one half of the roadway was paved as part of the Wawa.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we get that much time in the game right now because it's January 4th. I was hoping some kind of concrete gutter on both sides, worry about the paving later in the program and just finish it in the
I think
liquid fuel program, but try to get the concrete gutter from Wawa to the area they already started.
I think there's some inlets in the back of some of them yards.
There's an inlet right at the community action driveway, but it's tiny.
No, I'm talking further down. Like the house is on Fifth.
Oh, on Fifth. Well, yeah, you got that's the one we're talking about from Fifth to get up to McKay.
there's an
Yes.
discharges, like
There's
maybe
one that sits in-
right into the, I'm not aware of any other.
There's one, I think in, it goes Nice, then Kennedy's, then the houses turn the other way. And it's like in the back of all them houses, I know they always got a water problem there.
So I'm just hoping we could do something over there because, like I said, the list is bigger than what it was a few years back. And I knew that part wasn't on there, so
Do we
it's
have,
up to the board.
George, were we awarded one last year? And if so, what was it?
We were awarded two grants, both the priority and the secondary project last year. It was the continuation of the Johnson Avenue streetscape repairs and the signage grant for Linwood Heights.
Two things I did forget to mention, which I also talked to George about. One was the greatest number of people that are going to be affected if you would do a project are these streets that need to be redone in the 4th and 5th ward. Basically, there's 2,800 people that are affected by the count on that sheet that you have right in front of you, Ed.
Mhm.
in that area. The other thing is, when will this map change again, Lisa? Because we may have a very small window of opportunity for the fourth.
I don't disagree. Right now, typically what happens, they've done the census for 2020.
Mhm.
They analyze it, and then it's probably 3 to 4 years before anything is tabulated on new mapping that the county puts out. So we're probably about 1 to 2 years out, I think.
And then my follow-up question is, which of these projects that we have in front of us can be done with liquid fuels money?
The paving projects can be done with liquid fuels. The municipal services just changed their opinion about putting curbing in, or I would tell you that the curbing used to be eligible. Marjorie Paris is not allowing that to be utilized for, or to be paid for by liquid fuels funds. So right now, any ADA ramps that we would put in could be eligible, and any of the paving would be eligible.
Okay. So it looks like we pretty much have paving. We have the sidewalk improvements. What are the sidewalk improvements? What is that?
I think they're all relatively similar projects from like a infrastructure perspective. Most of them deal with either roadways, ADA ramps, curbing repairs, stormwater. Are the Mill Road, are you speaking about Mill Road?
Right.
Yeah, so that's replacing of curbing and ADA ramps on Mill Road in the neighborhood that comes, I guess, from Kristen Estates would be that neighborhood in the Boothwyn Heights area.
Kristen Estates is where
I'm sorry, it's not Kristen Estates. It's like Willowbrook 1, I think that would be.
there's a Kristen Court,
Yeah.
a road.
Kristen
yes.
Court.
But if you want to redo
So the,
Kristen, I just asked you.
so the Mill Road is not something that will be covered by liquid fuels.
Mill Road, not
Improvements.
sidewalks would not be
Sidewalk, okay.
considered. We could put the ADA ramps in, that's what's eligible.
Keep in mind, we did put that in previously as a project and it was denied.
Which one?
Mill Road. The only difference
Okay.
between then and now is we have worked with the county recently on the Boothwyn Heights plan. And that was identified through their county planners that there is a need there.
The projects that are most consistent with what we've done in the past are probably the Johnson Avenue streetscape and the Twin Oaks projects,
Well, I think,
in terms of getting the county to approve.
we've used money in the past to pave roads. So we have
Right,
we have
yeah,
had success
paving.
getting paving projects. We've used money in the past to get paving reconstruction and gutter curbing put in. We've used it for all of these we believe that all of these projects are projects that kind of fit what we've done in the past that has been accepted, and in areas that we've had some kind of interaction with the county on.
Was the end of McKay Avenue a CDBG project before?
Yes.
Okay, so you piggyback off of that one, but
Yeah, I'm fine with, I know that my area is always on the, list as being eligible, so I know Ed wants to try to apply for McKay, so I would think that should be, I don't know how difficult it is. I mean, it sounds like it could be a lot of, obstacles in getting that done, but,
I'm not looking for the paving, I'm just looking for the gutter curbing, because I could put McKay on my liquid fuel project afterwards.
we were talking about the flooding, right?
Oh, behind the
The
houses, yeah.
drainage and stuff, that.
I'm not enamored by taking out all of the mature trees and piping down through the back ends of
Right.
those properties. I think in the long run, we're gonna run into problems that we're seeing now. Some typical projects that we've done in the past, 25 years ago. What I'd like to be able to do is to either get enough information that I can determine whether or not the inlet can either be raised, whether we have to reconstruct that that section of Fifth in order to get it done and get the water over to McKay. McKay is the easiest way, but looking at just some old topography we have, I think that's the best way to get the water out of that area. And it'll solve another problem. As far as the gutter curve, we can put gutter curve in, but we are going to have to do some elevation changes because it is so flat
Right.
there, the water is not going to be able to get out. So we have to do gutter curve in conjunction with some inlets.
Well, most of the problem, I mean, to make the job a little, if we just say we did Mr. Neary's and then pick my second one would be McKay Avenue. It's more the side of the Wawa that has all the issue, all the way down. So the other side, we may not have to do. Most of the issue is their side.
Challenge that we have is
On that side, except for gutter curve.
so
I know the Linwood Heights project hasn't been spoken on the Huddle and Johnson Avenue streetscapes, but just for point of reference, we do have an active project going on at 1901 through Act 135 with the Delaware County Commerce Department Office of Community Housing Development. So we are like engaged very,
Yeah.
very deeply.
Yeah. So I think that, the other part of that, I mean, Joe, I would be willing to give you money for mine if that, or maybe we can talk about putting more money into the liquid fuels project for the older streets, because most of my streets are done in my ward. So I could, give money for those older streets and not necessarily apply for the community development grant for that. That's something that we could do, and we might not get it. They want bigger projects. So I think we should go with something that, that's a continuation of something else that we have going on that they would be more attractive to. So,
Is what I would agree,
Right.
what I agreed to about Linwood.
Right.
And because we've done some work in Twin Oaks, maybe that would be,
yeah. So, and Lisa, do you want to like do some more research on the McKay Avenue and then get back to us? Or how do we get this moving so that we are not holding up the application? We have to pass it tonight. Tonight, right?
yeah, I think what I'd like to do, we'll just call it McKay Avenue,
Okay.
stormwater improvements, leave it at that.
okay,
If we can determine how it's going to work, like I've got to do that within the next week. Get a cost estimate together so that we know what we're looking at, and how far we can really go with, $100,000 project.
And if it helps just the one side where the water issue
Yeah.
is, that's fine. Then we could
Can we
do
approve
the
three
secondary
and then
one,
take the one off?
whatever they want. It's fine.
so
Great.
McKay Avenue would be first and Linwood Avenue or Huddle and Johnson would be second.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
okay. We don't have to make the recommendation during this. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, let me open it up to the public. We're here tonight for the ones that just came in right now. We've been having a CDBG block grant for projects throughout the township that we're eligible for, and we had some projects put together from the engineer and the commissioners. If there's anybody who was here for the hearing, they could come up and state their name and if they have any comments. Cindy, do you have anything for the CDBG hearing itself? Okay. If not, I need to open it up to the phone lines for this to get a few minutes on the phone lines. If anybody had comments, since we've been meeting since 7 o'clock here, they could dial 571-748-4021. The number again is 571-748-4021. The code entering is 357-1690 #, 357-1690 #. To unmute your phone, dial *6, state your name and address, and you're given 2 minutes Once your 2 minutes is spoke, you'll be put back onto mute. After your comment, we'll leave the phone lines open for a few minutes. Take note, there was no phone-ins or public comment, and none in person tonight here. This will conclude the hearing for the CDBG. Need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Oh,
Second.
hold-
Before we do close the hearing, I do want to mention that this was duly advertised as is required on the 23rd and 30th of November in the Delaware County Daily Times. We will need a resolution, which we'll take care of at the next meeting, and we'll need meeting minutes for the application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We'll move right into the commissioners' meeting. We'll have a pledge of allegiance. What's that? I didn't hear.
Got 3 minutes.
Oh, I got 3 minutes? I was just moving along, guys. The other time you told me, slow it up. Sorry about that. You're right.
Like 24, I think it is. Huh?
I mean, I would say that, you know, so I'm the one to the.
Oh, I.
Right. That's 11.
Yeah.
That's
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, to the Upper Chichester Township Board of Commissioners meeting, December 8th, 2022. George, can you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Baco,
Here.
Commissioner Rakowski,
Here.
Commissioner Neary,
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker, Lisa Catania, Michael Pierce, and myself, George Needles, present.
Thank you. We're going to open up the citizens' comments again by telephone this time first, and then we'll go to the audience. If you're making a comment, telephone number is 571-748-4021. Phone number again is 571-748-4021. By entering 357-1690 #. Again, that's 357-1690 as your code. To unmute your phone, dial *6. After unmuting your phone, state your name and address and begin your comment. You will be given 2 minutes to speak and be placed back on mute after your comment. Comments are opened up for what's on the agenda here tonight. Lines will be open for a few minutes. Take note, there was no phone calls coming in tonight for any public comment. We'll come to the floor here tonight. We'll start with the first row. We'll start with the second row. If anybody wants to make a comment on the agenda tonight, come up to the podium. Your name, address, start with you, Frank, and work my way this way. Yes.
Is this on? Do I have to turn it on?
No, it's on.
It's on?
Yep.
Good. Hi, everybody. My name is Frank Sill. I'm here representing the Chichester Historic Society. I'm going to start out by just thanking the commissioners here of this board for allowing me to speak tonight and for all your hard work in public service. My comments are basically concerning the proposed project at the Hamby location. The Historic Society has a couple concerns. One, the first would be how all the correspondence that we have had with the planning board, Alliance themselves, we had a meeting with them and a couple letters back and forth, and with the township itself, we provided some information backing up the historic integrity of the barn and the property, and also an objection to the application for the demolition permit. So we had supplied all this by email and actually the objection by email and hard copy to Mr. George Needles. And my question would be, how is this entered into this whole dialogue? Is it just on emails? Is it officially part of the record of this event or procedure? Will somebody answer me that?
Yeah, I mean, I do know the letters that are at any meeting or I said the letters that are presented at any meeting are the public records. I don't know if the emails got to those meetings.
So yeah, I mean, all of our, everything sent to the township is a public record unless it's privilege. Matter.
Yes, no, that's, all of that was made part,
My fault.
all of that was made part of the record. Planning Commission and before the commissioners when they were considering this.
So that answered my question. That was
Everything's part of the minutes of
part of the minutes of this meeting or in past
planning
meetings.
commission meetings, this meeting, correct.
Okay.
Any meetings we've had up here beforehand when they had the representation.
Right. Well, I just want to be sure of that, because, you know, I moving forward, I want to make sure that our position, our opinion, our truths were recorded and on record. Because the main concern, is that we are worried that the ordinance has been bypassed. The ordinance itself, I'm sure, I'm hoping everybody's familiar with it. The ordinance itself calls for a hearing where the Historic Society specifically, not at the planning, not here at the commissioners, but together with whoever's appropriate attends that, gets to promote the history, the historical significance of the property. And this is just not about the Hamby Farm, it's all throughout our township. This ordinance was hard fought and well crafted and really speaks to it's a beautiful document that speaks to who we are here in Chichester. You get a chance to read it, please read it. It makes you feel good knowing that our Board of Commissioners felt this way about our historic resources. So I would really like to know what happened. More than what happened, I would like an explanation why the hearings never took place. And trust me, this isn't me or the Historic Society laying in front of the bulldozer. This is just trying to understand the process so that we don't establish some kind of precedent, because we have other properties like this where there's going to be other discussions. This ordinance was supposed to bring forth dialogue, and hopefully, and I'll speak to this particular case. The barn. If anybody sees that barn as anything but a prominent fixture in our town, state's, country's history, they're misled. It was built in 1917, and I could defend it, if anybody cares for me to. 17 is it's World War I. To say that barn does not qualify as a historic structure, right? And understand that it was built 2 years before Versailles. It's just ridiculous. It's a historic structure. And I just don't understand why the ordinance was not followed. The ordinance calls for very clearly any structure listed in the it's in the definitions of what is a historic structure, right in the ordinance, a definition. What is a historic structure? Something listed in the 1981 survey by the county, and the barn is, so it's listed. So just by definition, it is. And then by historical fact, it is. And I could go on and on about the history of it. I don't want to bore anybody, which is not boring to me, but the house itself, the Hamby House, 1812, right? James Madison, president, War 1812. Sure, Ed, you know who we fought for that, or second fight for freedom. It's just amazing to me that this ordinance wasn't called out. And the reason it's so important that the ordinance was brought up, because it creates a dialogue between the objectors, which at this point is the Chichester Historic Society, and the what you would call I'm not sure what I would call them, alliance partnership, so that we could better understand each other and better save our historic resources. Even if we couldn't save the barn, it gives us a chance to, bargain with what they were willing to do to make us whole, to make our town whole. They take that resource, but they help us in other ways, or the way, what I understand is we're going to move the building, right? But moving the building just isn't good enough. Moving the building with total respect for what the building is, what it needs to become, and assurances that it will not be idly moved and not renovated and used. I was familiar with the last. I don't mean to go over my time. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I'll stop. But I'd like some answers.
Right.
If I pose
The
the question
question-
right, why
Right.
did we not move forward with the ordinance?
Stab at this. Is this in reference to the agenda item tonight for the subdivision land development application?
This is exactly in relation, well, once our historic society, once I personally, and I believe Cindy and everybody, found out that there was a application for demolition of the barn. Once we found out that was made, I had one of my people bring over a hard copy of our objection to that. And also a defense of the historic significance of the barn. So that question is directly in relationship to that. The ordinance was not followed. We were not notified. We were not notified through the way the ordinance says we are to be notified. It's through our weekly, daily or weekly period newspaper that this board uses. I'm sure it's the Daily
Frank.
Times.
I think I can help it
Yeah,
along. So
yeah, thank you.
the Board of Commissioners back, I believe, I want to say September or late September, the applicant made application to the township for a demolition permit for the demolition of the barn. They supplied with that permit a letter from their solicitor, their lawyer, stating that they did not, from the applicant's lawyer, that they did not believe that it met the criteria based off of the law. That was reaffirmed by the township lawyer. Subsequent to the township solicitor, that the barn was not listed in the historical survey as that. So that being said, at this point, no permit has been issued to the applicant. However, the applicant put on record at the planning commission again that he would be willing to meet with the township and the historical society and everybody on the site to discuss the use of the barn, which has been something that has been on the record for the past
Beginning.
2 years for this process. So at this point, the legal opinion that was given was that this did not qualify to go under the demolition delay ordinance. However, there was conversations after the fact with the applicant to set up a meeting, which will happen before the demolition permit can be issued.
Yeah.
I have one question.
There's something positive there.
Go ahead.
There's something positive there that we will get to meet, that even though it's delayed and not in proper sequence or done by the ordinance, that something is going to be allowed, that we were going to be able to talk with the Alliance Partnership about the use of the barn. But
That was, Frank, that was discussed last week when they were here in front of it.
Months ago.
And he did state that just get out there and meet what could be used from the barn. Whatever he's going to use it for the other one. He has no problem of saving if anybody wants it, we want it, somebody, but they're not going to rebuild.
That's a good thing. I'm glad there's something positive.
Right.
But it's not the point I want to leave this podium with. The point is, the ordinance exists. It was not followed at all. And I would like to refute, either in a debate or by any means necessary, that I will not allow this moment to go by without refuting the fact that barn itself as well as the house, but the barn itself is a part of our history. You know, our town is not, we're not children of lesser gods here. You know, we have the right to our history as well as anybody, Chad's Ford, Newtown Square, that barn is historical. And for our solicitor, or for anybody's solicitor to claim otherwise was wrong and establishes a bad precedent for our future. Now, with that said, I'm glad something's going to happen, but it should happen before the fact, before this is voted on, so that we could have a bargaining position. In other words, our bargaining position with Alliance to make that house whole, to make our community whole, did not happen. And I would like
It did,
somebody to be.
no, it did happen last week. It was stated, we have it on record. They are not just moving the house and letting it be weathered. They want to button it up as soon as they can. They don't want it just sitting there. They want it to be occupied. That's the discussion with the Historical Society, any of our members up here, to be out on that field and say, what's the
We'll do
purpose? And that's what we will do. Right.
But the ordinance exists for a reason. Read the ordinance. The ordinance is being violated and our township we're not getting.
Actually, Mr. Sill, the ordinance hasn't been violated. The ordinance says before a demolition permit is issued, these things have to happen. You just heard the township manager state multiple times that the permit has not been issued. So I'm not sure where you're finding in the ordinance that says that this board has to do something before any approvals for final land development are made.
Mr. Pierce, in the ordinance, it clearly.
I'm familiar with the ordinance.
No, you're not if you made that statement. It clearly states.
All right.
No, let him.
That in the ordinance, it clearly states that upon receipt of the application for demolition, the township has exactly 10 days to publicize it in the newspaper. And then an objector has exactly 10 days from that moment to rebut it. Never happened. So, Mr. Pierce, and I yield the floor to somebody else.
Thank you.
I have one question. There's been debate whether the barn's historical, it's not, who determines that? I mean, I'm not being like, okay.
Cindy Charney, 2552 Central Avenue. I'm also here on behalf of the Chichester Historical Society. So what happens, Joe, is in the ordinance, it incorporates the 1983 historic site survey that was done by the Delaware County Planning Department. And that survey includes what they refer to as the Sawkeld Larkin Farm. And within the body of this survey, it talks about the barn. Large modern frame barn lie west of house, mounting block in front yard. By virtue of the ordinance, this is incorporated under the preservation requirements. That's how we read this. And that's why we believe the barn, beyond the fact that it is historical, that it's historical and it's protected under the ordinance.
Okay, yeah, anything else, Cindy? We'll move along in the second row here. Any other comments for the public comment tonight?
I do have one other question. I hope we obtain copies from both sides. Because this does, as Frank said, it sets a bad precedent, and we need to understand how the ordinance will work if it's bypassed.
Well, anybody could come up with a right to know and request the minutes on all the planning and whatever is in there is in there. That's the legal document.
Cindy, I can send you the, request.
Right.
I want to ask for like the application and documents associated.
Thank you.
Any other public comment in the second row? And now we'll go to the third row. Anybody want to come up to the podium for what's on the agenda tonight? The back row?
I'm feeling the public speaking role section's about to close, so I just want to say something really quick. Matches, its partners. First off, I want to say that we are going to continue, as we told you, to work with this historic society and try to make the best of the situation. I think we will. I live in a historic home. Great respect for the issue in front of you and in your community, and we're going to work with you. I have a lot to say, and I appreciate the passion, but I'm just going to sum up with one statement. The very first meeting we had almost, I think about 10 months ago with the Historic Society, I had professional photography done as a tool for them to maybe you all to have pictures of the home in the barn. And I said repeatedly, any day, anytime you want to meet, talk about the importance of this property to you and how we should consider and incorporate it. Just name the time and I'll meet you there and we'll listen and we'll work together. Never been asked to have that meeting. So we're willing and able. We continue to be willing and able. But it's gotta be two-sided. So hopefully we'll have that very soon as the days come close and we'll do better than expected. So that's all.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the back? If not, we'll move along to the meeting. Need the approval of the minutes from November 3rd, 2022 Board of Commissioners caucus meeting and the November 10th, 2022 Board of Commissioners regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Okay, number 6 and 7 is a short one for Madam President, Vice President Nicole Whitaker.
Consider a motion approving the additional allotment of $851.10 in 2022 to the Upper Chichester Library to offset additional costs from their 2022 STEM camp program.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution making application to the Community Development Block Grant Program in Delaware County for priority project number 1, McKay Avenue improvements. Project number 2, Linwood, Huddle and Johnson Avenue streetscape.
Second.
Any questions? Everybody good with that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 8 through 31.
31, I think it is.
Commissioner Joe Neary.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Consider a resolution setting the 2022 Upper Chichester Township tax millage at 3.0352 mils. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I'd just like to point out, obviously, that that's the 12th year in a row that we have not had a tax increase.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider an ordinance setting the 2023 fee for collection of trash, garbage, rubbish, and refuse materials at $240 per residential dwelling unit. So moved.
Second.
And
Any questions?
yeah, just as an addendum, that's an increase of $20, but the county has now raised our fee to $83 a ton for trash collection. So we're still not covering costs, but because of efficiencies in other areas, we are able to absorb that cost.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the 2023 Upper Chichester Township operating budget. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the list of bills in the amount of $415,315.15.
Second.
So
Any questions? A little late this week.
compared to last. month.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that's the order.
Consider a motion accepting the 2022 police pension plan audit proposal from Lights on Economides PC in the amount of $4,400. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the 2022 non-uniform defined benefit pension plan audit proposal from Lightsville and Economies PC in the amount of $4,400.
Second.
Second. So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the 2022 non-uniform defined contribution pension plan audit proposal from Lightsville and Economies PC in the amount of $2,900. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the 2022 Upper Chichester Township audit proposal from Lightsville and Economies PC not to exceed $19,600. So
Second.
moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Consider a motion accepting the 2022 Upper Chichester Township elected real estate tax collector audit proposal from Lightsville and Economies PC in the amount of $3,200. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution implementing Act 57 of 2022, allowing the tax collector to waive additional charges for real estate taxes in certain qualifying situations. So moved.
Second.
Question. What's that all about?
So basically, what this will do is take the responsibility away from us when, for example, we recently had a situation where a person moved and their bill was sent to their address in Philadelphia and they never got the bill. They made the effort to pay their taxes, but it got in late. In this case, the tax collector would be able to make that decision on his own.
And so he wouldn't have to come.
He would not have to come to us. It wouldn't have to be a formal public vote. And
The Department of Community and Economic Development have set criteria that they have to meet and forms that have to be used. So they have to certify that very specific events happened
Right.
that caused the late payment.
So he would just have those forms and make us aware of what happened. Okay. No problem. Makes it a lot easier. All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
consider a motion approving a real estate tax refund for 1129 Chichester Avenue in the amount of $255.98. So moved.
Second.
And just for clarity, the address sounds inconsistent with our numbering system, but it's an old address. It's the old Tenero's, what we all refer to as Tenero's
Tenero.
Beverage Store, but which is now another entity, but they got a tax reduction in their assessment. So this is what the refund's for. Right, Jordan? Yes.
One of the questions for it, is there any way we could get hold of the postmaster to get that address corrected? Something to do. We got enough to do. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving a real estate tax refund for 777 Cherry Tree Road in the amount of $210.56. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion authorizing the tax collector to accept the face value payment in the amount of $452.34 for the 2022 township real estate tax owed on 3,000 Village Way Unit 3205. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion authorizing the township treasurer to make all necessary payments to the end of 2022. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the retirement of David DeSands from the Upper Chichester Township Police Department effective January 8th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Just on the record, we will miss Dave. He's done a good job for us both here and in the school district, and he'll be sorely missed. Consider a motion elevating Alan Sicardi to the position of full-time patrol officer in the Upper Chichester Police Department effective January 9th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion appointing Paul Groffman to the position of Special Fire Police in Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion appointing Nicholas II to the position of Special Fire Police in Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion appointing Aaron J. Mott to the position of Special Fire Police in Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion appointing Michael E. Toth Jr. to the position of Special Fire Police in Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion authorizing the township solicitor to advertise an ordinance regulating the use of fireworks in Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes. So
Go ahead.
we can't light fireworks in the township, but we could sell them. Basically.
Well, the bigger ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, the other question, did you say the county had something in there? There were special days that were allowed for something that's like 4th of July, New Year's? Did I read that somewhere before?
I don't think so. I think in ours, that the board has the authority to make those exceptions.
So the one you're advertising does not have that in there right
It
now?
doesn't have the county, it has our board.
Okay,
I'll confirm that.
right, okay,
Once we get, and we can make changes to it. I
Right.
mean, we just want to get the ball rolling before the time of the year comes when it's too late.
oh, yes. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion temporarily restricting vehicular access to and from Summers Lane at US 322. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion adopting the 2023 Upper Chichester Township Public Meeting Schedule and furthermore authorizing the township manager to advertise the meeting schedule in accordance with all applicable laws. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Aye.
All in
Sorry.
favor?
Aye.
I'm going to get through these.
Opposed? Yeah, I know. Yep.
Finally. Consider a motion adopting the 2023 Upper Chichester holiday schedule. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Yeah, that's where we at. I lost. And Madam Vice President is going to read the ones that Commissioner Gaudioso would have had. That's 32 down to
38.
38.
All right, thank you. Consider a resolution approving the escrow release for 10 Freedom Way in the amount of $2,450.
So second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the conditional use application of Pinocchio Brothers,
Pinocchio Park.
Pinocchio Partners LLC for the operation of a childcare center at 450 Cherry Tree Road with certain conditions set forth by the Board of Commissioners consistent with ordinances of Upper Chichester Township. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution granting conditional approval to Alliance 4800 Chichester LLC for their application for final land development. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
This is the one with conditions?
Yes.
Yes. No question? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So moved. So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the land development application for 900 Township Line Road.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the subdivision land development application for 3033 Market Street. So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Who's the applicant? Yes. Okay. Is there really any less than them? I see a couple of them just say applicants. I mean, all right. Go ahead.
Yeah, all of them say applicant.
Yeah, even the Township Line Road.
Yeah, we should start listing them so we know who it is. That's what I'm getting at. All right.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion accepting the extension granted by the applicant for the preliminary B land development application for 4800 Chichester Avenue. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? What's this put us into, Mike? We just passed the final.
That's the final. This is the other plan, the ultimate plan. My understanding is that once the other one was passed, they will be withdrawing the preliminary application, which is the one without all the negotiated
Right.
items.
Will that have to come back before the board for?
No, they'll just submit a letter indicating they're withdrawing that out.
Got it. Okay.
So they're just asking for an extension of that?
Yeah, just, we were up against a time frame.
Okay, okay. And then all right. Understood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So ordered.
Consider a motion authorizing the township engineer to perform the final inspection for Gear Plastics Land Development Project. So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. 39, we're getting there.
Me.
Yeah, 43.
Yeah, there's one in the back.
Commissioner Junior or
Aye.
Joe Bianco. You had, you're done.
I am done. I think I'm hoarse.
Never heard back from the Teamsters, so we need to table that last item.
They were the last one, all right. Consider a motion approving change order number 2 from Premier Concrete Incorporated for the Chichester Avenue Streetscape Phase 2 project in the amount of $249,312.25. So,
Any questions? All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving change order number 1 from Moore Construction Services for the Upper Chichester Peach Street, Plum Street, Cherry Street Stormwater Improvement Project in the amount of $15,215.
Questions? This has nothing to do with the trying to get the other easement or anything. Is this something we missed?
This is the extension. We're going to one side of Cherry Street. We're going to extend the pipe to the other side of Cherry Street. So we're not disturbing Cherry Street again. We actually are waiting for them to it's closer to me, to survey the easement area so that they know the extents. We're going to meet with them and then meet with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a resolution making application to the Commonwealth Financing Authority, Pennsylvania's Small Water and Sewer Program Grant for the West Colonial Bridge Culvert Project in the amount of $470,000.
Any question? Lisa, can you, there is some audience here. They left. I just wanted to put it on record. We're going for the 470. And I think I wrote how much it was last week that we're responsible for. So it's very minimal.
For about 30%.
Right. Right.
15% match grant.
Okay.
If we get it, we do need a resolution. We also need $100 application fee. So it's more or less found money when you talk about 15%.
Okay, it is an issue over there on that bridge. I've seen it from day one, but I want the residents to know $470,000. We're not having match 470,000. It's 37,000 and $100 for an application. It's that right. Either or, so.
Yeah, 7. I'm sorry.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Consider a motion approving the proposal from Robert Gialder Custom Landscaping for the Creekside Village at Naaman's project in the amount of $9,225, subject to appropriate releases being obtained from the Creekside HOA and COA.
Second.
Any questions?
I will say I called the secretary or the treasurer of the board and have not heard back from him as to who the new president of the HOA is. But as soon as I get that information, I'll set up something for all of us to meet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
And my last one is going to be tabled. Is that all I need to say?
Do we need to table it or is
You
just
just don't need to bring it
no
up.
action?
Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll move along to the commissioner's report. We'll start out with Madam Vice President Nicole Whitaker.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks to the staff. Yesterday we had a staff and volunteer appreciation event that was very nice. The staff put together a nice event that was well attended. Just want to say thank you to all of you, George, you and your staff. The library fundraiser, the pie fundraiser ended yesterday. Thank you to everyone who supported that. We had several orders came in last minute, but it was appreciated. What else? We do have a library end of the year celebration that the staff here and the board is invited to. It'll be on December the 14th from 4 to 7 at the library. So if you can make it, they would love to see you there. And I think that's all I have.
Anything to be brought to the attention of Commissioner Whitaker? If not, we'll move along to Commissioner Joe Neary.
Thank you again. The financial reports and the police report are available at the township office. George, did we get a tax report? I don't see one in here. Okay. That will be subsequently available, and that will be all I have. Thank you.
Anything to be brought to the attention of Commissioner Neary? Now we'll move along to Commissioner Joe Biacco.
Thank you. Highway and sanitation, after the holidays, the new trash routes will be starting technically, what is it, George, January 5th? January 3rd. January 3rd, the flyers are yet to come out. We're going to make a phone reminder. Everybody should know it's coming. You want to comment on it?
There was a slight issue with the mailing that we were putting together, so we've got that fixed. We've got a printer that'll have that out by next Friday. And starting on Monday is when the blitz of all the digital advertising for this will start to happen, and the robocalls to notify people to expect the mailing.
Yeah, and can we put something out urging people to sign up for those robocalls? Because I know a lot of people that don't get them. I don't know how we can throw that into the letter.
Yeah, I think we can do that in the letter, and then also we have an option to put something in the tax bill this year. I think we could just instead of putting a bunch of stuff in there, focus on trying to get everybody signed up to that.
Now, can they use their cell phone as a robocall too? Okay.
And also I don't know how much I can or cannot say, but the Teamsters contract seems to be going well. I'll leave it at that. Sewer Authority, we had a meeting, myself, Mike DeSantis from Delcor, and one of the commissioners from down Lower Chi. And I think everybody's in agreement to start moving forward on that project. I think all the bugs are getting worked out, and I think we're going to be okay. I sent a copy of the sewer monthly reports to you guys in your email. And everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything to be brought to the attention? Mr. Biacco? If not, we'll go to my report. Short and sweet. The reports are in. Other than that, just as I said, I made a comment last week. Hopefully it woken some people up with the EMS and the fire that's going on in the county. The situation, lack of ALS, which is the medics that are here or everywhere, fire departments being outstretched. So first time in almost 12 years that I sat here that they've actually, it's not just me, been barking. So hopefully somebody, myself and somebody else jumps on this and we have the opportunity to get all commissioners in this lower end of Delaware County, or the western part anyway, moving with something, try to figure something out with the county, townships, suggestions, whatever we could do. So as you can see, our report, the medics itself had 277 response in 1 month. And that was just November. So other than that, if anybody has anything for me, we'll take answers. If not, or questions, and give you the answers, and we'll go to our professionals. Catania Engineer, Lisa Catania.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've gone through my report last week. Did want to mention a couple things. I received word today that there will be a pre-construction meeting on Monday. Not a lot of advance notice with PennDOT contractor for the Bethel roundabout,
Monday,
Monday.
what time?
Believe it's at 10 o'clock.
Just
I'll send
email,
it
send
over
it.
to you. I sent it to George
Okay, that's fine.
and Jim Putman. So I'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
And otherwise, everything that needed to be taken care of was taken care of this evening. Wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Catania family and our staff. And whatever you celebrate safe. Have a great one.
Thank you. Anybody have anything to bring to Lisa's attention? Now we'll go to our solicitor, Michael Pierce.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everybody. You have a copy of my report. We went over in detail everything last week. All the action items were taken care of. I will do the advertisement for the fireworks. If there's any changes or requests or modifications, just let me know. And before we pass anything, I'll make sure that that's incorporated into that. I echo my colleague, Ms. Catania's sentiments. Everybody has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. George, I won't forget you tonight. Now we're
Thank you,
good. Thanks. We get to our township manager, George Needles.
Thank you. All reports are on file. We went through the items last week and most of the action items were handled. Well, all action items related to this month's meeting were handled. Echo the sentiments. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have anything for the manager? If not, any new business, George? Nothing going on there. Before we do adjourn, I will say the same thing as Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and like everybody's saying, be safe. New Year's is right around the corner. Everybody be safe. Need a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night.